Whenever you get more than two people in a room that have similar goals, similar visions, similar needs, then you create a third entity, if you will. You've got the people in the room, and then you've got that third entity that they call the mastermind.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
You know, folks, I think we underestimate the power of human connection. I want to pause here, remind you that we are sponsored by ANOW software. ANOW is the software that is sitting right in front of me right now on my laptop, and it tells me everything that I want to know about my business. I'll tell you one example of how I use that in just a minute. But first, you can go to ANOW software by going to their website, anow.com. It's ANOW.com. You know, last Wednesday, we spoke on this very program, another minisode, about a mastermind that I was recently in. It's a local mastermind, so this is not one of my 7, what are we up to, 8? I think we're up to 8 now masterminds across the nation. 2 of them in Salt Lake right now. Crazy. By the way, we have some seats in Salt Lake if you're interested. You know, there was a period of time that Salt Lake was our lowest attending mastermind. We ended up shifting that to another town, specifically city, Nashville, and now we are bursting at the seams with Salt Lake again, and so we've had to open up a second Salt Lake mastermind. Anyway, but the mastermind that I spoke of last week was a local mastermind, and it's a mastermind that there's not another real estate professional in there. The individuals in there are, one guy runs a home automation system, one guy runs triathlons, a gal runs, is that politically correct to say gal? I don't know, that's what I've always been raised with. A woman, a female, an individual, a business owner, runs a dance studio. There's another individual in there that runs, oil change services. Lots of different business owners, but they're all kind of dealing with the same things, because guess what, folks? Business is business, and principles are principles. And the things that you learn here at the Appraiser Coach are very similar to things that you would learn at the accounting coach or the oil change coach or the dance coach, right? I mean, running a small business, especially when it comes to service-based businesses, which is, what we're involved in, of course, is the principles are the same, regardless of where you're at, right? And as I sat in the mastermind recently, I found it very interesting that the conversations that we have in that room, and by the way, this is a mastermind that I've been involved in, less than 5 years, but more than 3, we'll call it 4 years. And I've been involved in it for long enough to really get to know the people in there, really get to know their challenges and their problems and the things that they are dealing with. And it's fun, right? It's fun to be able to be a part of that growth, to share with other individuals ideas and thoughts. But what I want to talk about today is the power of human connection, the power of, yes, I know it's a buzzword and it's going to make you turn off the radio, but the power of networking, right? The power of just being in the room. One of the things I talked about in the last minisode was the fact that there was an individual in the room who was dealing with some of the same problems that appraisers deal with. Specifically, he was trading time for money, right? And that can always be a challenge for anybody. You're good at what you do. You think that you're the only one that can do it. By the way, you're not. And so you don't want to hire somebody because, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. And I don't want to take time to train anybody, and they're going to screw it up anyway. And they're going to become my competition. And I mean, the excuses go on as long as my arm. But one of the things that we deal with is the opportunity to assist and to help each other. I mentioned in the last minisode that this was one individual on the hot seat, right? We do 2 hot seats, meaning 2 couch sessions, we call them in the Appraiser Coach Masterminds. And these are an opportunity for you to talk through whatever problems, whatever things you're dealing with, okay? And as you deal with those things, you have other people in the room. And this is the whole idea of the mastermind. In fact, the definition, the term mastermind actually came from Napoleon Hill. Okay, now masterminds have been used since Adam and Eve, but it was Napoleon Hill, at least my best understanding is Napoleon Hill coined the phrase mastermind. And what he talked about was that successful people surround themselves with other successful people that help each other out. And I'm paraphrasing, but his definition of mastermind was whenever you get more than 2 people in a room that have similar goals, similar visions, similar needs, then you create a third entity, if you will. You've got the people in the room, and then you've got that third entity that they call the mastermind. It's the power of thought, the power of communication. I know it can sound a little hokey, but you've all been there, right? You've been in a room where you bring up an idea and then somebody else chimes in and says, yeah, you know what? I tried that idea once and it didn't work and here's why. But then a third person chimes up and says, yeah, but the reason that didn't work for you is because of this and I've tried it this way and it actually worked pretty well. And someone else will say, well, I'll add one more to that. If you also add this element to it, then you can actually not just be successful, but you can be super successful. And this is what a mastermind is like, right? When you're involved in the Appraiser Coach Mastermind, and again, we have 8 of those now, that's what the day is like. You're sitting in a room, and by the way, you can be completely transparent. We share numbers, we share gross, we share volume, we share what we're doing, our marketing tactics, everything, right? We're sitting in that room, and don't let that discourage you. A lot of times people get over, well, I don't want to share all of it. Folks, yes, you do. And here's why. And here's the point of the mini-sode today, right? The second person on the couch or in the hot seat today was me. And honestly, I didn't have a lot of problems that I'm currently dealing with in business. So I went to the mastermind with the idea of, hey, I'm going to see what help there is. And specifically, I said, hey, I'm involved in some investments right now, some real estate investments, some business investments, and I want to spend my couch time, my hot seat time, just picking your brains as far as what is out there, right? You all have a network that you're involved with. You all have people, you know people that are doing investments and doing this and doing that. I want to just ask for leads. So here I am. I want to get a return on my investment, and here's the money that I'd like to make, and I just told them 20% is kind of my minimum, right? If I invest $100, I want to make $20 on that $100 yearly, and I need your help. Folks, I walked out. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. It's what prompted my mini-sode today. I've got a list of things that now I can pursue. People that I can contact. By the way, I've already texted 2 different individuals after the mastermind, right? And I've got this list of things that I can do based on the conversations that I had with individuals in that room. By the way, the top of the list, I'm not even going to explain this. Number 1, skinny dipping encouraged. I literally promise you that is the number 1 talking point. Skinny dipping encouraged. You would have to have been there. But that tells me something, and that's something that I can follow up on. Something you can follow up on is Now software, folks, if you've been thinking about it, right? Think no longer. Get involved. Podcast 30 will give you 30% off the first 3 months, and I'll tell you how easy it is to use this, right? Right before I came on this program, and it's about midway through the month as we are recording this podcast, I thought to myself, I wonder if we are on board. Some of the appraisers in my office have been complaining, thinking, the volume's been low. I haven't been as busy. So I clicked a couple of buttons, literally 2. Okay, I clicked on 2 different buttons on Now software, and boom! All of a sudden, I know where we are for the month. 3 buttons I had to click. Right, 3 different things I had to click. Boom, boom, boom. Within 5 seconds, I knew that we were on track to make the volume and the money that we need to make as a company. In fact, we are above where we need to be. That's what Now software will do for you and more. Anow.com. Again, it's ANOW.com. Welcome back, folks. Just going to wrap this up because I need to get on to number 1, skinny dipping encouraged. I need to start working on that. Folks, if you have opportunity to be involved with other people, specifically business owners, I highly recommend it, folks. I have not been without a mastermind for me. I'm not talking about the Appraiser Coach Masterminds, but a mastermind for me for probably 12 years. That's been longer than that because the Appraiser Coach actually came from an idea in a mastermind. Yes, it did. 12 years ago, in 2010, we came up with the idea of the Appraiser Coach, and it came from a mastermind that I had been involved in for at least a year. So for at least 13 years, I've been involved in local masterminds. I highly recommend that you either join one or start one. You will be shocked and surprised. When you can come out of a mastermind with skinny dipping encouraged as one of your to-do items, trust me, folks, this is worth it. Another thing that will be worth it is for you to join one of our masterminds across the country. We have 8 right now. You ready? Washington, D.C., Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, Salt Lake City, Utah, yes, I meant to say that twice, California, and our online version as well. Check us out. Go to theappraisercoach.com and click on the membership tab.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.